Are you a healthcare professional and tired of the BS at your job? The crazy hours, all the policy changes due to COVID, and feel that management isn't paying you what you're worth? In today's video, I'm going to fill you in on another path that you could take by explaining to you how nursing agencies make their money and how you could leave the bedside to start your very own healthcare staffing firm. We help healthcare entrepreneurs start, grow, and sell their companies. Welcome to Passive Workforce. Before you go ahead and change things in your life, I'm sure you want to understand how nursing agencies and healthcare staffing firms work and how they make money. Nursing agencies and healthcare staffing firms all do the same thing. Essentially, they're functioning as middlemen who are working on one side where they're recruiting the resources that companies need, and on the other end, filling the vacancies and shortages that facilities or other healthcare providers have. This could be private offices, doctors' offices. It could be home care agencies, skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities, hospitals, outpatient centers. You name it, any place where healthcare is being administered is a place where a healthcare staffing firm or a nursing agency can function. But the basics of what they do is really bridging the gap in that staff shortage. And the way that they work is that the healthcare staffing firm or the nursing agency goes out and they find providers that are in need of workers, right? So let's just use the classic example of a hospital, something that everybody understands. You go to a hospital, and the hospital has a bunch of openings for nurses. They're having a hard time recruiting their own nurses independently. However, you have been focusing on cultivating this group of nurses who are ready to go in and work when there's strikes, when there's crises like COVID, or just when people are out on vacation. You negotiate with that hospital that you're going to bring your nurses in to fill those gaps. And what you do is you contract with that facility at a certain price, and you're paying less than what you're contracting for. So let's just say that you negotiated a contract for $100 per an hour for an RN, but in that particular city, RNs get paid $60 an hour. After you factor in workers' comp, taxes, and all the other fees, you're probably in for another 20%. So it's about $72 per an hour that is costing you to put that nurse to work. That $28 per an hour difference is what the agency is making as their profit and as their operating money. And that's really how nursing agencies and healthcare staffing firms work. You could apply that same logic to any healthcare professional. And it doesn't even need to be healthcare professionals. You could do it with janitorial staff, groundkeeping staff, anybody who is working in a facility in the healthcare field can be staffed to a facility as long as they have a need for that person. Now you may be thinking, why would a facility pay above the hourly rate so that some other agency can bring staff in and make a bunch of money? Why would somebody pay $100 an hour for a nurse when nurses are only getting paid $60 in that particular city? Now, the reason for that is because there has been and will continue to be shortages in certain professions, especially nursing. You have shortages with physicians, you have shortages with nurses, you have shortages with a bunch of healthcare professionals because the population is aging in America. And as people age, their healthcare needs are increasing. So there's more and more demand on the healthcare system and not enough workers to fill in and address that demand. And because there's these shortages, facilities, in order to make their money or even just be legal and operational, need to have certain staff on hand or certain staffing ratios that they need to maintain. Without that, they're out of compliance or they're not providing enough services to bill and make money. Imagine having patients that are in need of knee replacement surgeries, but there aren't enough surgeons in the facility or enough aftercare or enough physical therapists to do therapy immediately after services. What is that facility going to do? They have to accept less or refer out to another facility. That is lost opportunity. So they may be comfortable paying $100 an hour or 50% more than what they're paying staff because of what they're making on those cases. And on the other hand, if they're so short that they can't even meet their ratios, they run the risk of being flagged as out of compliance. They run the risk of making mistakes on the floor, and they also run the risk of losing staff that are overworked. So right there, you have all the reasons why facilities are going to be willing to contract with a company like this, and why is there demand in the industry for agencies to fill those gaps. So now that you understand that there's demand out there, you're probably thinking, well, how does the money trade hands and how does it really all work logistically? So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to negotiate a contract with this particular facility or provider that explains how much you're going to be paid for the service that you're providing. Again, we're going to stick with the same nursing example where your rate is going to be $100 an hour for every hour of service. Now, this could be just to fill shifts, or this could be on a contractual basis where you might be filling a vacancy for 6 weeks or 13 weeks or whatever their need is. But the underlying rate is going to be fixed to their time. So it's going to be a certain amount of money for a certain amount of time, whether it's a contract basis or per an hour. What happens is you're going to set up some sort of procedure with that facility for time and attendance. So when your worker is approved to go work in that facility, they're going to either punch in their time and attendance solution or sign in on a regular timesheet. Or if you're using software like our software, On Time ITS, they're going to check in using a mobile application where they get into the building. It's all GPS powered. They punch in, it records their time in, it records their time out. And that time track is submitted at a later point in time, usually 30 days later, in the form of an invoice. Now, your contract is typically going to stipulate how frequently and how fast you expect it to get paid. Now, you might have an arrangement where you submit an invoice every week and you get paid every week, or you're going to be submitting monthly and get paid 60 days later. It's up to you to negotiate the best scenario for yourself so that you have cash coming in all the time. But essentially what you're doing is, again, you're leasing out your staff to this facility. Now, at the same time, you're going to be keeping track of your employees' time and attendance because you have to pay those employees. Those are your employees. They don't work for the facility. They work in the facility, but you are the employer of record. You're the ones cutting the check. So you're going to have to pay those employees a rate that you agreed upon. Now, there's a lot of tools that are out there for you to be able to afford kind of buying the time. And if that's something that you need help with, we have preferred lenders that we can connect you with so that you're not putting out all that money from your pocket. Imagine having $100,000 of payroll per week, but you're getting paid every month or every 2 months. It can be a lot of money. And that actually causes people to shy away from this business because they figure, I don't have enough money to float payroll. Our organization is well connected and can actually put you in contact with the money, set up your line of credit so that you can float payroll as you need to fit your contract. Now, I think these sort of companies are perfect for nurses and other healthcare professionals, mainly because you really understand what the needs are in the facility. If you're a healthcare professional working in a hospital, working in a nursing home or an outpatient facility, you see it all the time, how shorthanded you are, how often managements complain they don't have enough people, per diem being assigned, overtime being assigned. You see the signs that there is a demand for more workers. You're always short, there's always openings in your facility. And by seeing that, it makes it more real, it makes it more palpable that this is something that you can satisfy if you just built the resources to place people there. A lot of you have friends and colleagues who are working at other agencies or friends and colleagues who are looking for more work. That is who you start with. If it's just you and your buddies from college or from the jobs that you've accumulated over the years who are interested in filling those vacancies, your first group of workers are people that you know, including yourself. So you could go out there and negotiate contracts at competing facilities or even partner facilities and say, hey, I have a gang of people who are ready to work in these positions. They're competent, trustworthy, and I'm going to be able to bring them here to fill your gaps. And because you're one of these healthcare professionals and you could even staff yourself, you know that you're going to be able to at least meet something and at least charge that premium rate, that contract rate. So the worst thing that happens to you when you start one of these businesses is that you at least place yourself, if you're a healthcare professional, and you're going to be making a premium rate because you're charging that agency or that contractual rate. And if you're not only placing yourself and you start to place your friends and family, then you have people who are a little more tolerant of the mistakes that are, of course, going to be made. And as you get more comfortable and more professional with running this organization and you start to take in more people from the public, then you really have a business on your hands. You can scale this up to hundreds of employees like I have and make quite a bit of money. If you think this is something that you can do, I recommend that you subscribe to the channel to learn everything that you need to know. If you're excited and ready to learn more in the next steps in starting your own agency, watch this video where I break down the step-by-step on how you could build your very own company.